you regularly do in assemblies? What's the thing that you do in your assemblies in schools? For those of you who are in schools, singing, prayers, what else? National anthem, fantastic. Now, if you look at all these things, you find out that an average assembly is generic. To plan an assembly is generic to you. You just gather them together and you put them to sing. You sing the national anthem, you share values, you teach. Sometimes some people preach, sometimes people pray. And different people come into different contexts of what it is. But what I'm trying to explain to you is that a lot of us, when we think about the experiences that we have, when I say experiences, I mean the experiences when people interact with us, or interact with our brand, or interact with our school, you find out that a lot of times, the things they experience is based on the benchmarks that were generic. Benchmarks that were generic. And there is a point in time you need to recognize as a 21st century professional, or better still 22nd century, because sometimes people come into contact with these words and say, it's not 21st century, whichever one it is, as an upskilled professional or as an in-demand education service professional, you need to recognize that the truth of the matter is you cannot leave generic benchmarks as your only proof of growth. Generic benchmarks are things that you look at and say, in general, what do people have? And that's why you see sometimes when people start enterprises, when people start organizations, when people start businesses, when people start pursuit, or when you see people do things, you sometimes see that it's too regular. It might not be bad. It might sound great. It might look good, but it's just generic. It's just basic. Are we together? And we need to understand, on what platform are you benchmarking your growth this year? Is it on general benchmarks? Please understand, brands that will be distinctive, professionals that will be distinctive, people that will be sought after, cannot peg their growth on generic benchmarks. In fact, what do you notice when the quality assurance people from the states, from the ministries, from the regulators, when they come, guess what they're looking at from your school? They're looking out for what we call generic benchmarks. And most of us, I find it quite alarming that we are still running up and down to even meet up with what you call generic. What is given. And so schools today are still guarding a wrong post. We're trying to guard the post of having registers. We're trying to guard the post of having attendance. We're trying to guard the post of making sure we have lesson notes and lesson plans. So they say ministry official is coming to your school and you are running helter-skelter. You probably are having a wrong post you are guarding. Because the truth about it is your day-to-day running should be regular enough that when somebody comes, what they're checking for is actually not something they should be checking for. You see, but it's because we have pegged our growth to the wrong benchmark. Guess what? We are behaving within the pedigree of that benchmark. It is said that people behave based on how they are measured. So imagine, for example, that the Ministry of Education or the quality assurance officers are now measuring your school beyond generic benchmark. Imagine they are now measuring your school based on industry-based benchmark. That's the second benchmark. It's called functional benchmark. You have generic, you have functional. Functional benchmarks. Now, imagine I was coming to your school as an inspector, as a school inspector. And the first thing I'm asking for is not your lesson notes. It's not your teaching notes. It's not your lesson plans. It's not your attendance register. It's not how many beds do you have in your sick bay. Imagine I was asking, what's your student development plan for the next 6 years if you're a primary school? Do you have that? Oh, what's your student evolution plan? Do you have that? Oh, what about your community evolution plan? Do you have that? No, remember, if you are in a school, whether it's purpose-built or not purpose-built, if you're in a school in an area long enough, you stayed in that area, for example, for 10 years, that area is not the same area you were in the first year. Hope you know. Take, for example, there's a particular area where I live. When I got into that area, it was purely residential. But over the years, it became both residential and commercial. Guess what? Now it's even more commercial than residential. Now, if I was to do a business plan, and my business plan was designing a business enterprise based on the residential model, I hope you know that over the years, guess what? That business plan needs to change. You know why? The people who are now in that area are more commercial than residential, meaning that I would be witnessing what you call a shrink in my market size. Thank you. Uchechi says change has happened. But how many of us, and sometimes I hear people ask me, Mr. Itayo, parents are not paying school fees. These are not happening. That are not happening. And sometimes you sometimes feel sorry about such situation. But the question is the school meant to be relevant in that location? Could it be that some of us are suffering non-fee payment or low student drive because even the location is not meant for a school any longer? Do you understand? Now, that's when you begin to think about benchmarks, and then you now begin to think about functional benchmark. What's happening within the education industry? And when I say what's happening in the education industry, a note of warning. Context must be the rule of thumb. Many times we take wrong comparison. We look at places that are far off. Sometimes, permit me to say this, I hear people talk about Finland, for example. I say Finland education versus a school in Ikorodu, and a school in Ikorodu is trying to be like a school in Finland. That is a very wrong comparison. It's a wrong benchmark model. You cannot weigh that and call that even. The context is totally wrong. Totally wrong. And so we must begin to think about the word functional. When we say functional, we're talking about something that you are able to do so that you can bask in your growth and you can see it. That's why sometimes it's called improvement. You see, they say the most improved school. Why? You are moving based on functionality. Your improvement is based on context. And that's why sometimes we put the investment in the wrong things. There are many schools that have invested in the wrong things. Let me give you another example. Most of you are familiar with the hospitality industry. You find that in the hospitality industry, there are benchmarks. There's the 5-star hotel is a benchmark. For you to be a 5-star hotel, you must have certain kind of things. There's the 4-star hotel is a lower benchmark. There's a 3-star, there's a 2-star, there's a 1-star, and there are people who have no star. The truth of the matter is, it doesn't mean that they are bad as an outfit. It's just that they are not ranked in a range. They are providing value and service to a particular market audience. Think about it that you have a particular area and you're serving a particular market size, and your headache is to put air conditioning in your classrooms. What is the business of air conditioning in learning outcomes? Could it be that a dispenser is better than an air conditioner? Oh, the environment is hot, the children need to, okay, why not have water breaks and have good, what do you call it? Water dispenser, so that the children can take cold water, get refreshed, but you don't necessarily have to incur power bills. See, the cost of getting air conditioning is not a problem. A parent can dash you and donate air conditioner to you. What about the power bill? Then you start having educators turning to negotiators with NEPA officials. Ejo, please, Ndo, Dalu, or whatever. You don't have a business doing that. That's not an enterprise. And our growth must be very functional in the new year. Now, that other people are doing it doesn't mean you have to do it. And that's why you need to know how you benchmark. Benchmarking is not a case for mediocrity, don't get me wrong. But what we're saying is that you must be able to understand that the benchmark is for you to set a goal to be better at your functional level. So let me move on because of time. The third one is what you call competitive benchmark. I've talked about the first one, and the first one talks about generic. The second one talks about functional. The third one now comes to competitive benchmark, and I want to sound another note of warning. You see, I've had the privilege of mentoring and coaching people. And we sometimes have the opportunity to do what we call comparative expertise advantage. And what does that mean? It means that you look at the people that you have in your industry that at least are almost not too far apart from where you are. I'm not saying you look at the overall set of people. I'm talking about at least people you could call contemporaries, people that you could benchmark, and identify the things that are going for them. So, for example, let me give you an example. Permit me to use this example. It might not be the best, but permit me to use this example. Can I use the example? Nobody has said yes. I need one permission at least. Permit me. One person. Give me permission. Fantastic. Uchechi. Uchechi might win a prize. So she's like one of the fastest fingers on this section. All right. Thank you so much, Temi Tokwe. Thank you, Adetutu. Thank you. Yes. Now, imagine we're benchmarking and I say, oh, Odetola Ebenezer Israel. I want to benchmark with Odetola Ebenezer Israel. I notice is an industry colleague, is an industry expert. I notice he's doing stuff. Fantastic. Now, what are the things that Odetola has going for him? Or better still, what are the areas you want to benchmark? Okay, visibility. Odetola has website. Odetola has a group on WhatsApp. In fact, several groups. He has this, he has that, he has that. Write all those things. Now, score yourself. Visibility, what's your score? Let's say Odetola is 9. What's your score? Yours is 4. Okay, website. He has a very attractive website or a very functional website. You don't have website, or you have website, it's just your picture, profile picture that is there. You score yourself maybe 2. He scores maybe 8. Then you talk about social media, and then you look at all that. Now, let me help you understand. The goal is not to meet up to do what Odetola is doing. The goal is to say, what do I have going for me that Odetola doesn't? Sometimes you need to understand, for every expertise, there is a vacuum. In other words, what I mean is this. Because Odetola is exploring and executing at a level, it will create a gap at another level. What it simply means is that Odetola can't serve everyone. Because he's serving at that particular niche or area, guess what happens? He has created gap. So what you need to understand is, I need to look for how I can show my distinctives or difference and brand myself like that. So your benchmarking is to create a better practice. And the better practice is not say I'm better than Odetola, no. It's to show my distinctives than Odetola. So for example, some of us know that you prefer, I don't want to use brand names, but so that you understand. Some of us would prefer maybe Zobo, right? Some of us would prefer Zobo to regular soda drink. Now, it is not because Zobo comes in the best of appearances, because all those other sodas, they have better packaging sometimes. In fact, they are more expensive sometimes. But it's not because we don't have money, but because Zobo sometimes, well, when we're thinking of something more natural, we're thinking of something more healthy, our preference might tilt towards that. In other words, Zobo's distinctives is not packaging. It's not presence in 69 countries. It's not sponsorship of programs. I mean, Zobo is general to all. Coca-Cola can sponsor a program, for example. Who is this person that is the authority of Zobo? Zobo is everywhere. Are you getting my point? But you don't need to sponsor a school competition for you to have a product that is definitive or that is distinctive in nature. Thank you. Jane says differences matter. Yes, that's the rule of branding, contrast. And so you must think about it this new year, that as we go, and let me tell you, especially for schools, word of caution, schools are going to go smaller in the new year. This year, going forward, between 2023 to 2025, you would witness a higher demand for smaller schools. And when I say smaller schools, I'm not just talking about size. I mean schools that are reachable. So one of the best models to explore for school owners is retail model of schooling. Your school system must be very retail. You must be. There's a new normal going to start. After Q1, you will begin to witness it. You will see more of retail-based schooling in terms of demand. So you probably find out that bigger schools might witness a bit of a shrink and a shake. Yes, that's going to happen. There's a new normal happening this year, one I can tell you. So take that and say that's the prophecy from start 2023. All right, let's go on. Let's go on. So you must understand, and that's why benchmarking is not just for the rich, it's for everyone. Benchmarking is not for the one who lacks, it's for everyone. So you have that generic, functional, competitive. Make sure that you know your real competition. Some say, I want to compare myself with Mr. Itayo. Well, be sure that I am your real competition. I've had a lot of people who come closer and then see what I'm doing and now almost want to replicate and copy and paste. And that's the beginning of their own limitation. Why? Because you need to understand that we are not, if you are in my range of competition, why not? Make sure you benchmark based on your real competition. You know, Oxford University is not your competition. It's not. So you say, in Oxford, they do this. It's not your competition. You are not there as at now. You know, so you need to be very careful. Then number 4 is what I call internal benchmarks. Internal benchmark, which also is known as interval benchmarks. You see, you need to understand that a lot of times we are blind to visible expertise around us. And that's why in education practice in Nigeria, it's a thing of concern. The reason why we are always adopting external and foreign models is because we don't share our own expertise at a standardized level. So if I was to ask Femi Agoye, or I was to ask Bello Joyce, or I was to ask Ganiu Amobi, I was to ask Eligo Daniel, I hope I got that name, or Fumilola Pausi, or I was to ask Temi Tope Oni, and say, based on the years of practice in education, based on the year of leading as a school leader or school owner, or based on whatever expertise you've got, you know, can you share subjective expertise that you have? Not just as gists, not as correction. No, that's not it's done. Subjective expertise is actually created in such a way that if somebody is not in your situation, if somebody is not in your school, if somebody is not in your setting, the person can pick it up just the way you go online and search for something and you adopt it. The person can pick it up and practice it without you being there or actually telling him, wait, remain small. There's nothing like that. You know, subjective expertise is one of the things we need. See, if we can get together and that's why I celebrate Odetola for what he's doing. Start in the new year. Some people say, is it not too early to start going for programs? There's nothing like that. That's why I like the name START. Start 2023, start 2024, and as long as it continues. You need to recognize that when we compare and contrast expertise, the sector will grow faster and it brings what you call premium professionalism. Why is it that other people are not copying what you have? Number one, it is not seen, it is not named, it is not shared. We don't see it. You've not named it, you've not shared it. Or some of you will say there's a thing called Montessori learning. Why? It was seen, it was named Montessori, and it was shared. And at each level it gets to be shared, sometimes it's certified. So you sometimes find shared expertise leads to certification. Shared expertise leads to subscription. Shared expertise leads to licensing. But we are not familiar with that. How many people have licensed play? Some of the songs you sing in your assembly, it was never patented. It was never patented. Most of your assembly practice could be licensed, but you know what? Assembly is based on generic model. So a lot of things you do that are good, that even works, that should grow beyond you and yourself and your client. It's not done because you're not practicing at that level. So you must understand that internal benchmarks, let's begin to look at ourselves and do what I call catch me if you can. So if, for example, I'm working with Temitope in a school, I need to also understand that beyond looking outside and I look at it, what is Temitope doing that I can try to catch her if I can? It becomes an internal healthy competition. I'm looking at it, maybe it's the level of professionalism, maybe it's the level of zeal and zest, maybe it's the level of passion, maybe it's the level of accuracy and precision. I need to look at that as well, right? Someone says, can the slide be shared? I don't have slides for this. I'm pouring out my heart to you guys. sometimes it's not always right, okay? Try to constrict and restrict. I didn't come with a note. I just feel that I should share, and I hope it's making sense. I hope I'm making sense. Um, and then let me end with the fifth one. The fifth one is what we call historical benchmark. And let me tell you this. In my personal practice, in my personal opinion, and I'm stressing personal, um, I think that this is the safest kind of benchmark to start with. Historical benchmark takes the pressure of growth away from you. It helps you to look at it and say, 2022, how did we fare? How did the sector fare? 2023, what should be the plan? That's historical. I'm sure you've seen sometimes when they compare WAEC results, they do it historically. What was the pass rate in 2020? What was this pass rate in 2021? The reason is because it doesn't take you too far out of a reasonable range. You see, sometimes we tend to compare people and compare ourselves in a wrong way, But historical takes you to have a bit of an holistic picture. Think about it, for example. Normally in Start 20, I think Start started in 2019. Am I correct? Odetola? I think it's...
Yeah, 2019.
Yeah, so we started Start, or the start of Start was 2019. Then we went to 2020. Then 2021. I think there was Start last year too. However, Starts in those years were physical. Now, there's been a bit of a historical comparison that planning and a lot of things, okay, should we not do Start? But because there's comparison for continuity, yes, we've been doing over the years, let's still do it. It might not be in the same room, but maybe on a platform like Zoom or a platform like Microsoft Teams and like Google Meet. Meaning that we were able to achieve growth even though methodology changed. So as opposed to just copying people, we would have been under pressure to change the date because Start is always the very first week of the year till when we believe we can gather people together physically in a room. Sometimes we are blinded by a wrong comparison. Historical benchmarks help us to look at it and say, forget Europe for a while, forget US for a while, forget Finland for a while, forget Kobis, forget all those places for a while, for the purpose of what I'm saying. Can we look at ourselves and say, what does education need in Nigeria? Sometimes it's not the things that we have not copied yet. It might be the things that we are lacking. Sometimes it might not be the things that I've not finished downloading that new thing. There's AI, there's this, yes. Sometimes, have we fixed can we even say, have we fixed our learning appetite? We are talking of new technology. Have you fixed your learning appetite? What is the adoption rate of new things? You see, and I love the theme for this year, new things. There has to be a force for improvement. And one of the forces of improvement is for us to scale through benchmarks, starting with historical benchmark. Bring it away from educators and education. Let's come to you, the educator. Let's come to you in this session. Can you step away from communal behavior for a while? What people do. Let's talk about what you, 2023, what will you do that puts you on an historical level and say, last year, this was what happened. Previous year, this was what happened. What am I going to do in the new year? Am I going to attend conferences? If I will I look for it or it will look for me? Did I stumble on the things I attended last year? Or did I look for it? Historical comparison. If you were more of one who stumbled on things, maybe this year your growth should be intentional. If you were very intentional last year, maybe this year you should be a seeker, meaning that you are moving from intentional to one who seeks after. Seek after growth, seek after expertise, seek after progress. Some of you got to make money by chance. Why don't you make money by choice this year? You need to understand that there's a difference. Are you following what I'm trying to say? Some of you, you really, really were pushed and motivated to do great things. Why don't you get to take risk to do great things in this year? Historical always gives you clarity on the direction. And the more you do, the more you get clear. And if you were to meet a functional coach, that's what they'll tell you. The clarity is in the doing. So you understand how to scale, remove or increase your benchmarks. Very quickly, let's scale barriers. If there's anything I've noticed, permit me to say this, amongst educators before I end this session, is this. We always have this issue of willpower. Our muscle is weak when it comes to our will. And that's why sometimes people say, educators don't read. In my office currently, I have over 300 books that are self-development, professional development books for educators. It's not for sale. But if I was thinking about it, and I said, how can I share some of these books? If I told educators that, okay, my office is opened, I'm saying, for example, my office is opened on Saturdays. You only read and then you go. You're not taking the book away. You know, some people say, I'll now go all the way. More than 300 books. I have about 4 suitcases with books inside. And it's across different levels. Some people say, who was reading help and all those things. Please understand, reading is not just information. Reading is also conditioning. A lot of us, our minds are not conditioned for the growth. And that's why wealth sometimes is far from educators. It's abstract. You only have comprehended what comes through payment of salary. Some of you don't understand just access to you can be paid for that. And that's why we need to scale barriers in 2023. Why do you have barriers? Number one is lack of will. Let me tell you something. May 2023 will be the 3rd year I've not eaten rice. I've not eaten rice for the past over 2.5 years. By May this year, it will be 3 years I've not eaten rice. R-I-C-E, yes, rice. I've not tasted rice. And why did I do that? It's not because of health reasons. I just needed to show myself that I can subdue my will. Rice was if you're a trainer, ask them, what's the regular thing that you eat during lunch break for training? Is rice. And I train everywhere. I travel everywhere. And so everybody gives you rice. And rice is the easiest thing that makes you eat late because it's just to warm it and all that. But I said to myself, I can't be raising people to do great things and tell them, do what you've not done before, when I can't show them an example in my own personal life. And I said I was going to stop rice and bread. And I stopped rice and bread for about 9 months. But then I took over bread because I love tea, so I have to take bread, but I don't eat rice. And those who know me, you can ask them, they'll tell you, I don't. Sometimes I've gone for conferences, they do not make provision for the kind of food I eat. I'll just take tea and I'm fine. But that didn't make me weaker. Sometimes people even say I'm looking bigger. Why? Because I understood the power of the human will. Listen, even if somebody doesn't share with you new technologies or new principles, if you will master your will in the first 60 to 90 days of this year, make it the first goal, that I am going to remove that lack of will. If I said to you that there's an opportunity, a lot of people are talking about that UK is employing now. Everybody say they're waiting for webinar. The webinar doesn't necessarily empower you. Because if you go into organized society with the kind of current will that you have, you will make a mockery of that opportunity. I tell you, confirmed. And one of the things you need to work on is your will, because your will can mess up the best of lessons you will learn in today's teaching or in any discovery that you have. Our will is one. Number two, lack of career plan. If you are going to scale barriers in education, barriers in your school business, there must be a career plan. Listen, career plan doesn't mean your job. Your career is bigger than your job. Your job is inside your career. Hope you know. Your enrollment is inside your career. Your school should have a career plan. Your school has a career. Just as an individual can have a career, an organization can have a career. Yes, your job is a very small speck within the career. And so you must realize that. And then number 3, this is the interesting part. A lot of us, you have preemptive, you lack it. You lack preemptive requests. A lot of you lack preemptive requests. That's real definition of opportunity. Because some of us don't make certain moves, right? You don't make certain moves, and it's yours for the asking. I remember some experiences I've had. Let me share with you one. I had an opportunity to get a grant of over $35,000 some years ago. And then when I got the grant, I was meeting with the final meeting before they disbursed the money. And I met with the organization that was new. The person said, they are impressed with your work, blah, 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 blah. Is there anything else you need? But because $35,000 back in 2010 and 2011 or 12, that's a big deal. Guess what? I said, I know. And once you just get the money, you are fine. And then the lady left. Then the people around me, they said, what is wrong with you? She said, do you need any other thing? You said you are fine. Just because we're looking at the $35,000. She said that was an opportunity for us to scale your budget. Preemptive, not preemptive. Preemptive, meaning that you preempt something. Yes, fantastic. Thank you, ADBC. Preemptive moves and requests. In 2023, the reason of a new governance. Listen, we don't know who is going to be governor of your state. We don't know who is going to be president yet. But what comes with a new government, there is a big opportunity with preemptive moves and requests. If you went to your local government or you went to your state and you made a preemptive, I can work with the state on this, I can do this. It's you preempting, saying, what you have thought about that I did not allow to stay here, and I'm bringing it out in the open. Sometimes it doesn't mean that you have to do it yourself. Sometimes you throw it in the open for togetherness to make it work. And that's what actually some of us need to begin to plan for in START 2023. Where you saw a big opportunity, but you know you cannot execute, but you want to be a part of it. So instead of making the opportunity ownership-based, you want the opportunity to be reality-based. In other words, Temitope can say, Femi Agoye, I think I see that you can do this. It is me that saw it, but I'm seeing it in you. I am being preemptive, I'm giving it to you, but I want it to be something that involves me. So it's not anymore I, it's now we-centric thinking. A we-centered thinking that makes it a part of Temitope's reality, even though it's not Temitope's ownership. You need to begin to look for, and that's when you now see that some of us need to now see there is need for new kind of friends. Friends that you have that are beyond your current reach, so that you do dreams that scare you. That it will take thinking. Some of you even pray and fast because you are getting to the realm where you are doing things that really require core expertise. That's the kind of year I want it to be. And finally, you need to scale borderlessness. And there are 3 things about borderlessness: access, agenda, action. I repeat, access, agenda, action. These 3 things is what will make you master borderlessness. A lot of people have access and they stop there. A lot of people crave for access and they stop there. Can I have a contact? Can I have a contact? Access. Can I have your email? Access. Can I have your phone number? Access. Can I get a visa to UK? Access. Can I get a visa to US and Canada? Access. Access is never enough. The complete cycle is access, agenda, and action. And action. In other words, you must have an agenda that backs up the access. an agenda that brings meaningfulness of having access to the phone number. What's the point you have a phone number and you don't have any agenda with that call, with that phone number? It's useless. What's the point getting to UK and you cannot fit into an agenda for economic growth and economic wealth? That's useless. What's the point of traveling to Canada and the best thing you can only guarantee is that you witness the cold and the snow? You know your account can also experience snow. You know that. So where the agenda comes in, and a lot of us need to understand that is where borderlessness starts from, not movement. Borderlessness is not movement. Why is it that some of us are not some of us we have not thought of, making the things we are and the things that we do borderless in nature. Now, let me share this quickly with you as a wrap up. There's something called global passports. That is where your access begins. Some of you have global passports, some of you don't have. But a passport without visa is nothing. A global passport is like your website. A global passport is like the CME group. A global passport is like a coaching program. A global passport is like a Facebook group. You must make sure that you belong or you get to a place that gives you access to something global. International passport, like you have your regular international. In fact, can I say this? Permit me to say this. If you don't have an international passport, make it a goal this year that between the first 6 months of 2023, one of the things you want to be proudly, one thing you want to own proudly is an international passport. Please understand, the international passport is as important as having a land. In fact, the first proof that you're a landlord is your international passport. Please, please, please make sure it becomes part of your plan. Whatever you need to do, whatever you need to ask, and I mean when I say whatever you need to do something clean, but ask questions, find out, seek for help. I think maybe Ebenezer should take it as a project, Educators and Their Passport Initiative, where we just keep rumming it in people's ears, how you're going to get your international passport. And please understand, it's not because you want to jackpot. It's not because of that. It's because you are starting the journey to borderlessness. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? That's the journey to borderlessness. You understand? And then you now begin to think of visas. Visas can be subscription to programs. Visas can be subscription to groups. Visas can be registration to programs. I'm still thinking of an idea that will happen within the year. For those of you who are not connected to me, please follow me on social media. My name is Rotimi Tile on Instagram and all that, so that when that time comes, you get to know. I'm thinking of something that has never been done before, and I know we will do it this year, And when that time comes, it might require you to register. It might be free, it might be paid for, but your visa is a kind of registration to a program. It gives you access. Think about it. Has anybody learned anything so far before I end? If you've learned not, or type yes. Now, imagine you didn't get the link to this. That was the visa. Some people don't. Some people have data. Some people are in the group. But some people did not click on the link. The link is a visa. Look out for visas this year. Visas, I'm not talking about visas for country. If you can for country, fantastic. Look out for visas and embrace the one that is functional to you. Remember the benchmark. And have an agenda. An agenda that, number one, I'm a faith-based person. I believe in God, so permit me to say this. One of the things I feel strong in my spirit this year is that I'm going to try to see as many as I can to raise a lot of educators into economic power, meaning that I want educators to get into wealth. That's one of the things that's apart from my theme for the year, that's one of my assignments this year, I'm going to try to handhold educators into a place of economic power. To be an educator is synonymous to wealth. And so if wealth is far from you, there's a problem. You understand? But then once that is structured properly, I'll let you know, or once you follow me and all that. Please make sure you follow me. I might not be able to add you on Facebook, but Instagram is easy to follow me, please, so that you're connected and you get those information. But what am I trying to say? When we as a people can get access, hello Shola, how are you? Shola Dela, thank you for joining. When we as educators have access and we back it up with the right agenda, following the right action plan, either as employees or employers of labor, you will see a tremendous level of growth that will take place. It will happen not just for your job, it will happen all around your dimensions of life. Access backed up with agenda, with corresponding action, always produces results. Always produces results. And so this is what it takes for you to scale benchmarks, barriers, and borderlessness. And listen, if you approach the year with fear, it will not be your year. But if you approach the year, right, with this choice and desire, everything is settled. Listen, if you've ever lacked anything in the previous year, it's acceptable and understandable. It's a result of your comprehension. But this year, you want to be ahead. You want to sit on your case of comprehension. You will not be ignorant anymore because it is costing you too much. Ignorance is not just because you didn't read. Ignorance from your will. A lot of us, we need to have the right will. Let us train our mind muscle to have the right will. I've coached a lot of people within Nigeria, outside Nigeria. Sometimes I tell them, do this. They say, coach, it's too difficult. And then someone else, you meet the person, do this. And the person says, recently, towards the end of the year, I got a testimonial from someone. And the person did, just from a conversation, got to do multiples of millions before Christmas Day. Multiples of millions before Christmas Day. Based on a conversation that someone else I had told was like, what was the difference? One took the wheel, the other one had lack of will. You will be listening to several experts after me. Eben is coming, Mrs. Didiolu is coming, and I think 2 other people are coming after me. Please and please, take all they've learned, turn it into functional knowledge, and make sure you back it up with the corresponding action. My name is Rotimi Itai. I hope I've been able to share 1 or 2 things for you, to you, so that it can make the year, not just the start of the year, but a star year. Thank you very much. I'm done. Eben, are you there? I'm done. If there are questions, probably if there's opportunity to take questions, I'll take questions.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr.
months. Just short timeline. Some people can read at no stretch when there's luxury for that. But you can create a routine and a plan, and that will help you with your reading habits. And sometimes look for titles that inspire you as well. I think that is that. Um, so another question. Any other question? I'm not sure if I've seen any other one. If you have any question, please ask. Feel free to ask. I think Lawal Olalekon, you have a question? Can you please help unmute those who have questions? Okay, throw more light on
So you
retail
can
school.
actually unmute yourself if you want to ask any question. You can quickly unmute yourself to ask question.
All right, someone is asking for more light on retail school. Retail school meaning that it's a model. The retail model is always a model that is directly to the end user, closer to the end user. And so a retail model can be in a place of location. For example, a supermarket is considered a retail store. Why? It's closer to you than if you're going to a major market or a major mall. So that's what we're trying to say, that schools must begin to think of a retail model and also follow the pattern of real estate development. You will see that new town development plan is making more people ecosystem based. So a lot of people will begin to gravitate towards things within a self-sufficient place. So that's what's going to happen within the retail. Now, the internal benchmark is you looking at within your ecosystem of friendship or employment or organization, individuals or expertise of growth, things that work well within that system. How do I benchmark? How do I compare what is desirable or what is required in such a place? So that's the analysis of that. Is it necessary for us to identify our competitors? Absolutely necessary. Not for you to compare in terms of feeling pressure, but for you to actually look at how you can create contrast and distinctives. Yes, you must find who your competitors are. You're not to follow them to start looking at what they are doing. You're just to see, what am I doing that I'm doing right? Or what am I doing that I can do better and differently? Your enrollment can be increased in your school and growing your school by your offer. A lot of schools forget that they make an offer. They make a promise to the entire society. What promise are you making? Start from that. You can either chisel down or zone in on one. And then from there, think about how you message it out there. Your promise of value is very important. What is the promise you're making to the parents? And you must understand every school is not the same. So you need to know how you get your ideal points.
Can you hear me now? Yes. Okay. Sure that now 100% sure they can learn. At this point, I can now start. Okay, my name is Odetola, and I start immediately. So sorry for the transmission, in breaking of the transmission. So going to be explaining the topic going forward, and definitely can you please tell yourself you are going forward here? You are going forward going forward this year in terms of your teaching, you are going forward this year in terms of financial, you are going forward this year in terms of teaching. Definitely so far say that word that going for more, definitely you are going for more. My name is Odetola. I'm sure you can all hear me. If you can hear me, just give me a comment. Just say you can hear me so that I know everything that is happening that you can hear me. Anyway, tell me whether it is still echoing or else then I speak to my lack of sanity.
CME START 2023 speaker.